The second question of my study was, what is the experience of identity within our research encounters? So I was aiming to be in these moments of being in sync, being attuned, being with people with profound intellectual and multiple disabilities, so that we could access a kind of shared meaning. And that's not that I understand the same thing as they understand, but we're both experiencing a shared, like when the people walk down the street and they fall into step, and if they try not to, there's almost a third force that is pulling them together. This person walking has an experience of that force, and this person walking has an experience of the force, and the force is the same force, but I don't necessarily have a through experience. So within these moments of witness, where we are attuned, where we are kind of essentially walking in step together, but the walking is being, how are we going to encounter identity in those moments? And so I used a lot of Merleau-Ponty's philosophy, and it's in the same way that I fell in love with Hande Yeager's participatory sense making. I definitely fell in love with Merleau-Ponty's phenomenology of perception. I think if I was a younger student, I would have written quotes all over my folder and swooned. But he describes meaning as apprehensible at the point of experience. And that was very important to me working with this population of people, because if it's going to be an abstract meaning, or a meaning that requires on you being able to lay down memories or access and recall things, then it's not going to be a meaning we can share, because the only bit of experience that I can guarantee we're sharing is the bit that we live now. I don't know whether you can lay down memories. I don't know whether you can have access to, but I don't know whether you can, but I know that you can be here in the now with me, and I can be here in the now with you. So if we can use meaning that's here in the now, then that's an accessible form of research to somebody with a profound intellectual disability. And so I brought into the research novel objects. And the idea is that when you meet an object, there is a meeting of self. And I was framing identity as recognized self, so I mentioned that in one of the previous videos. So say here's my glasses case. When I touch the glasses case, I discover that the case is smooth and cool, but I also discover that I am somebody who touches smoothness and coolness. So as I meet the case, I meet myself, and in that recognition of self, there is an identification, there's an identity of kinds. And the use of the novel objects, when you see the novel objects, and I'll try and put pictures of some of them up. So, for example, I used a giant blue egg filled with wind chimes, and I used ping pong ball sleeves, and I used a cape made of ice cream spoons and a 12-foot vibrating rope. And it looks like these are the sort of strange objects that you need in order to work with people with such profound intellectual disabilities. And it's not that at all. It's that you need that level of object to get people like me, who are in their head and busy thinking and not paying attention to the present, to kind of notice themselves against the form. You know, like when I pick up my glasses case, I do not generally have an experience of self. I don't go, oh, I am somebody who feels smoothness. I don't notice it at all. I don't notice my embodied being hardly at all. But when you put on a pair of ping pong ball sleeves, you get this moment where you go, ooh, like, this is what it feels like to wear ping pong ball sleeves. And it's that moment where you recognize self. So the novelty of those objects was a point of access for me. And we also used objects that were brought into the encounters by the people with profound intellectual and multiple disabilities whom I collaborated with. And these weren't necessarily novel in that they're not bizarre objects, but they were, sorry, you can hear the dog scratching and shaking. They were things that we encountered ourselves against. So, for example, there were small sticks and leaf debris that we picked up and dropped. There was a vibrating foot massager. There was a sack trolley there was hair, and there was the sky. And they were all objects that were used in the work as well. And it's not a comprehensive list, but it gives you an idea. And I'm going to stop and tell you about data in the next video.